it's time to start the war on death. Somebody said that it's a quite strong way to express it. I really don't think so. I think that if you really consider what's going on in the financial industry and in the business industry, then you can recognize that humans are out of the loop. It's no longer about us. It's no longer about human beings. It is merely about the credit that we can afford and the credit that we afford the banks to give us. Because even if we don't have credit anymore, they still use people to generate credit and to grease the wheels of the economy. And nobody wants that. Nobody asks for that. And a good example, which is quite shocking, that came out this week, is the fact that the over-the-counter, the bullion market, is a Ponzi scheme. It's not real. It's leveraged 100 to 1. Here's the clip from the guy.
If you start putting position limits on bona fide hedgers, for example, bullion banks, and the previous fellow was talking about hedges of paper on paper, and that's exactly right. Precious metals are financial assets, and like currencies and T-bills and T-bonds, they trade in the multiples of 100 times the underlying physical. And when people buy and sell those, they are voting and they're giving an economic view of the world, or a view of the...
Yes, well, I don't think that's what everybody believed. Everybody believed that there was a reserve, that there was a vault where you had the gold, and that when the contract expires, that you could actually get the gold. That is not the case. Once again, the bankers did exactly what they started to do in the beginning, which is lie about how much they had. And by lying, by creating 100 times as much gold in form of paper than there actually was, they created wealth for themselves out of nothing, out of thin air. And the problem with that is that wealth then goes on to be credit for businesses. It distorts the competitive market because it is not there's no human support for an organization, there's no resources for the organization, there's just the lie that they can hand over a piece of paper that is worth an actual physical ounce of gold or something like that. And with that lie they then steal from people that have the resources to give it to them. And that type of operation, basically the economy could not afford that type of operation, and the fractional banking that activity that they employ made it seem as if the real economy could afford that operation. See, so it was not, and so that's an operation that nobody asks for. What the banks do when they do fractional banking, when they give credit to organizations, they give something that they don't have. They basically, fiat currency is not backed, but now you see that even gold, even the physical stuff, is not backed by actual gold. And that causes a huge amount of growth in the economy, because everybody believes that they will get something real, that there's something real on the other side, but there isn't. That's a problem. That's how you screw up the planet. That's how you destroy everything. That's how you deplete the resources, by doing it for no reason whatsoever. You see, if you have, let's say, if the currency in the world would have been, I don't know, drawings, children's drawings. Let's say that's the currency. Then you would need children making drawings, and you could only have an exchange of in economical goods using those drawings. So as long as there would be children, making drawings that people would buy in return for whatever these children wanted to have. So they would get the children drawings, and then they would give the bread in the bakery, and they would give the milk, and they would give whatever these children needed, the shelter, the energy. They built the house for lots of children drawings, and then they used the children drawings as currency because everybody accepted it. There would always be a connection to the real world, to the real children that made the drawings, because if there were, if there were no more children, or if the children didn't make any drawings, or they didn't want anything, they would not make the drawings, blah blah blah. Stupid analogy, I don't really know, but there would be a direct connection. Or maybe it is somebody digs up truffles, and truffles are the currency. then if nobody dug up truffles, there wouldn't be currency and there wouldn't be trade. You know, that in that system you always know that whatever you are doing is for somebody else. If you use fractional banking, then whatever you're doing is for nobody else. It is only for the banker. And what it does, it creates a surplus in the market that then drives down the prices, and you can see what the result is, that everybody starts living in poverty. Because nobody can really compete in the market anymore. Because there's lots of phantom people competing in the market. And that's how these business models, and then of course if you have a business model that only looks about the money that goes in and the money that goes out, and the money is freely available in the form of credit, based on whatever it is, so you get credit based on human beings that cannot afford it, you have credit based on gold that doesn't exist, you have credit based on money that doesn't exist, on assets that don't have any value. You know that the human beings are not important anymore. And that's where the business models become lethal, because they start depleting the planet, polluting everything, and you didn't notice. That's maybe another good reason why they did the outsourcing to China, that you wouldn't see the pollution that the activity brings, that the manufacturing activity brings. That manufacturing activity in China was completely unwarranted, and in reality completely unwanted by anybody, except for the financial institutions. And the Yellow River is now the dark river, the brown river. It's almost glows in the dark. There's no dolphins in it anymore. It's a battlefield. You see, you could almost see that, or maybe you can see that it is a machine of death, because it is, and it has been separated away from the US, because it would kill the US if all that manufacturing would have been done in the US. So the US people didn't see it, but they were, let's say, the placeholder for the credit that went to China. And now we're at the end of the story. We have a huge problem in terms of pollution of the oceans and the atmosphere, and that's all the result of the financial system. So start the war on death, make sure that there's only real assets going around, and this guy from Goldman Sachs should be immediately arrested for massive fraud.